I think probably it would be best if I handed over immediately to Lucy to set out the rules of engagement tonight. Lucy.
Hello, I'm Lucy Patterson, the League Advisor to the hearing. I'm just going to start by setting out a few procedural formalities. This is a public meeting and anyone can attend. However, the hearing should not be filmed by anyone other than the GLA. We were following an agenda for tonight, which I hope you all have a copy of. If not, there are copies available on the desk on the way into the chamber, together with copies of the Mayor's hearing report and addendum report, which has been produced. Well, some of you will be aware the hearing has been moved from its original scheduled date. This was in order to give us more time for the necessary notification letters to be sent out, as it came to our attention that some individuals hadn't received these. The Mayor made a site visit to the application site this morning, accompanied by officers, representatives from the Council and the applicant. The site visit was conducted in accordance with the GLA's procedure on representation hearings, and no representations were made to the Mayor during this visit. All speakers this evening has been given an allotted time to speak, as set out in the agenda. When it's your turn to speak, you will be asked to come forward to the table. We do have someone taking a scribe of the hearing tonight, so it would be helpful when you come forward if you could clearly introduce yourselves before you start. Speakers should try to confine their comments to material planning considerations and ensure that the comments do not conflict with the GLA's diversity and equality statement. All speakers will be notified 30 seconds before their time is up. Once speakers have finished speaking, there will be no further opportunity to speak unless the Mayor asks you a direct question. If a member of the public interrupts the hearing at any point, the Mayor will warn you and they may be ordered their removal. Having heard all the oral representations tonight, the Mayor may decide he is able to take the decision tonight. However, if he decides he needs more time, the decision will be made within 5 working days and posted on the GLA website, in which case we will notify the local planning authority, the applicant and anyone who has made representations here tonight in writing. Finally, we are not expecting an evacuation alarm this evening, but should the alarm go off during the hearing, people will be directed towards the nearest evacuation route. Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Lucy. I should say this is a difficult case, and obviously it's only with the greatest reluctance that I do call things in, and I will listen very, very carefully to all the points that are put to me tonight by all interested parties. But we're going to begin with a presentation from Graham Clements, GLA Strategic Planner. Graham.
Thank you very much,
How many minutes does Graham have?
As long as he needs.
As long as he needs, okay, right.
Convenient. Right. So the content of the presentation is simply to set out the site and surroundings and some of the spatial policy context, the proposed development itself, response to public consultations, Tower Hamlets Council's reasons for refusal of the application, the key issues that the Mayor must consider, and recommendation to the Mayor. The site, highlighted in red here, is located in Spitalfields on the fringe of the City of London. The site is very well served by public transport and records an excellent rating in terms of its accessibility to the public transport network. Accessibility of the site will be enhanced further by Crossrail when a new station opens at Liverpool Street in 2018. This is a zoomed-in aerial photo of the site in red and its immediate context. The southern portion of Spitalfields Market and the One Bishop Square development are visible just to the north, and to the east you can clearly see the white stone of Christchurch Spitalfields. Looking at the plan view, we can see that the site, outlined in red here, is bounded to the north by Brushfield Street, to the east by Commercial Street, to the south by White's Row, and to the west by Crispin Street. The site is occupied by 4 buildings and a private service road running east-west. The service road follows the route of a historic public highway known as Dorset Street, a notorious street in its day, and a Jack the Ripper murder site. So here's a bit more detail on the application site and the buildings. The building highlighted in red there on the plan is the London Fruit and Wool Exchange. They've got the Gun Public House just filled in there, the Barclays Bank building, and the White's Row multi-storey car park. The London Fruit and Wool Exchange occupies a large area of the site and currently provides approximately 21,000 square metres of managed office space provided by the City of London Corporation. This space is occupied by a mix of 61 small businesses on short-term leases and provides about 300 jobs. Also at the site is a recently closed auxiliary private gym with squash courts and a temporary private medical facility. The Gun, shown here, is a public house within a 4-storey building located on the western corner plot at the site at the Brushfield Street, Crispin Street junction. The Barclays Bank building occupies the eastern corner plot, fronting Commercial Street and the Brushfield Street junction. And the White's Row car park occupies the south of the site. The car park is open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday to Friday and 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. on Saturdays. It provides free parking facilities for motorcycles and charged car parking facilities for cars. A flat rate is charged on Sunday, which corresponds with the busiest market day. We'll now look briefly at the relevant spatial policy context. This plan here comes from the London Plan, and you should be able to see there the site is identified, falls just within the Central Activity Zone, or CAZ, which is identified by the London Plan and recognised by the Tower Hamlets Core Strategy. The CAZ represents the globally iconic core of London, has a rich mix of local and strategic uses, and is one of the world's most attractive and competitive business locations. The site also falls within the City Fringe Opportunity Area, as identified by the London Plan. It's indicated there with the red line. This shows us it in a bit more detail in its wider context. It straddles boroughs of Islington, Hackney, Tower Hamlets and the City of London. The London Plan states that the opportunity area provides particular scope to support London's critical mass of financial and business services and clusters of other economic activity. The application site located here at the heart of the opportunity area and is about 150 metres from the boundary of the Corporation of London. Looking now at the local level, the site itself, identified by the red outline you can see there, falls within the Brick Lane and Fournier Street conservation area. The site is also adjacent to the Artillery Passage conservation area and the Wentworth Street conservation area. The site is also surrounded by a great number of listed buildings and locally listed buildings. This slide shows Grade 1 listed buildings in pink, Grade 2 listed buildings in blue, and the locally listed buildings in yellow. Those in closest proximity to the site include, to the north, Spitalfields Market, highlighted with the red dot there. To the east, Christchurch Spitalfields, which is Grade 1. I should say Spitalfields Market was Grade 2 listed. To the south, 5 White's Row, which is Grade 2 listed. It's indicated there. And to the west, 56 Artillery Lane, which is Grade 1 listed. And to the northwest, 52 Brushfield Street, which is Grade 2 listed. And as you can see, there are various other heritage assets in the surrounding townscape. Simplifying this plan view will allow us to get a sense of the urban grain or the division between buildings. You'll note that this diagram shows that the area is comprised by tightly packed collections of buildings with small footprints. Indeed, this is an important characteristic of the previously identified conservation areas. As you can see, however, the application site, along with 1 Bishop Square to the north, does represent the introduction of larger footprint development into the area, and the London Fruit and Wool Exchange established these characteristics at the site when it was constructed in the late 1920s. Moving on to some detail on the proposed development. As you can see, the bullets are on the screen. The proposal is for demolition of all buildings at the site, save for the Brushfield Street facade of the Exchange building. It's for construction of a new building of up to 6 stories, 37,500 square metres of office space, 2,000 square metres of which is for small and medium-sized enterprises, 3,000 square metres of retail space and associated parking, servicing and public ground works. The next slide will provide an overlay of the proposal over the existing site. You will note that the proposal would create a singular block, removing the private service road which ran east to west across the site. One of the things you will notice, however, is the creation of a new north-south link, indicated there in red. This will link Artillery Lane and Whites Road to the south with Brushfield Street and the entrance to Spitalfields Market to the north. Over half of the route would be open to the air. The proposal would also create 2 new public spaces. The first, a 1,060 square metre space to the south of the site adjacent to Whites Road, and the second, a 410 square metre open-air courtyard at the heart of the development. The proposal would also create an arcade behind the retained Brushfield Street facade and provide at-grade or level access to and from the Brushfield Street entrance. The public spaces proposed would be activated through various ground floor retail, restaurant and cafe uses, as well as the retention of the pub and bank uses at the Brushfield Street corners. These are those uses indicated on the plan. Along with these, much of the internal route would also be activated by the entrances to the office areas. Whilst the vast majority of the office floor space is provided on the upper levels, ground floor provision will be made at the southwest of the site here, along with the small and medium-sized enterprise provision. And I move on to the response to public consultations. You'll note that the full summary of consultation responses and representations is included within the hearing report and addendum. We shall start with your own representations, Mayor. You'll recall that whilst you supported the principle of office-led redevelopment at the site, you identified outstanding strategic issues with respect to mix of uses within the CAS, urban design, inclusive access, sustainable development and transport. You'll also recall that you urged the applicant to seek to retain the Gun Public House building if at all possible and to introduce greater architectural detailing into the elevations. Following these representations, revised plans were submitted by the applicant and, as you set out in your Stage 2 report of the 20th of June 2012, you indicated that the above strategic issues had been satisfactorily resolved. As part of the statutory consultation process, English Heritage raised an objection to the loss of the Gun Public House and the bank building. English Heritage also raised concern with respect to the extent of demolition of the London Fruit and Will Exchange building and the loss of the private service road formerly known as Dorset Street. Following the submission of revised plans, English Heritage stated that the revised plans did not address these objections or concerns. The Mayor should note that none of the other statutory consultees raised an objection to the application. We'll now look at the consultation responses in terms of representations. The Council received 110 representations of objection and 3 petitions of objection with 843 signatures and 113 comments in total. The Council also received 124 representations of support. The Mayor received directly 64 representations of objection and a copy of the petition which was submitted to the Council, which has now received an extra 170 signatures and 69 additional comments. The Mayor also received 75 representations of support. Again, a full summary of the representations received is set out in the report, the hearing report and the addendum. In addition, the Mayor should note that the GLA has been made aware of an application to the Secretary of State to list the London Fruit and Will Exchange, effectively due to the quality of the building and the prominence of the architect. The listing application will run its course, and we understand it was submitted by Save Britain's Heritage. The President of the organisation has asked that the Mayor delays making the decision on this case until the spot listing application has been determined. Summary of the key points of objection coming out of the local representations and those submitted to the Mayor are as follows. Displacement of existing businesses and jobs at the site, absence of housing on site, loss of parking provision, loss of buildings and extent of demolition, design of the new building in terms of scale, height and architectural quality, loss of the private service road or Duval Street, impact on the conservation area and listed buildings, noise and disturbance associated with ground floor uses. Those representations received to the Council and to the Mayor in support of the scheme cited reasons with respect to the new ground floor uses and retention of the public house use, creation of job opportunities, design of the new building and retention of the Brushfield facade of the London Fruit and Will Exchange, response to context and Christchurch Spitalfields, improve north-south permeability through the site, new public spaces and public realm improvements, and removal of the multi-storey car park.